Live guest time. It's the Antiques for Everyone at the NEC. Starts today for 4 days. Andy Munro is with me. It's one of the several topics we shall talk about. So let's start there with the Antiques for Everyone. How different is that to the Antiques Roadshow and other things that go on there with the word antiques in their title?
Well, I think it's really a show, as it says in the title, it's a show for everyone. You know, there's a whole range of stuff. It's not just for specialists, although it attracts a lot of collectors. So it's, it's a great draw, basically.
Is it more what people have sort of found in the attic, or, as they always say, go and have a look, you never know what might be there, or is it big for trade, this one?
I think, yes, it's important to trade, but yes, on the other hand, it's about people who do find stuff in the attic, those little quirky things. So, yeah, it's got a bit for everybody, really.
And so the fact that it's over 4 days does suggest that there will be quite a lot of people going there.
Yeah, it's a very popular show. It's, as you say, it's on for 4 days and it usually attracts a very good attendance.
Have you been yourself recently?
Funny enough, I'm going this year. I haven't been for a couple of years, so I'm looking forward to it.
Are the people who go, are they those who think or hope that if they go and have a ferret around in Grandma's loft, they'll find something that's worth a lot of money?
Yeah, I think everybody dreams of unearthing that thing that's worth a lot of money, and that's part of the fun, really. Doesn't always happen, as you know, but it's still part of the fun.
Because that was a great story only, a week or so ago, maybe 2 weeks at the most now, of somebody who got a vase they'd used as a doorstop in Birmingham.
I remember reading that,
it turned out to be worth an absolute fortune. It was from one of the Chinese dynasties. I can't actually remember which one it was.
Well, I've checked all my doorstops, unfortunately.
And
nothing going now.
None of them are quite that good, yes. But of course, one of the things is that you are very actively involved in the Pen Museum, and I don't think people realise that it was just one of the trades in the city of Birmingham, wasn't it?
Yes, I mean, you could almost call the Jewellery Quarter, could have been called the Pen Quarter. It was that important to the area. I mean, at one stage, there were probably over 100 factories in the Birmingham area, employing over 8,000 people. Very, very important to the local economy. How far back are we going then with that? Well, I'd say the peak was late 19th century, early 20th century, although they reckon the first steel nib pen was made about 1780 or late 18th century, but it didn't really take off in terms of mass manufacturing, for want of a better word, till sort of the early part of the 19th century.
Yeah. So are these nibs that would have been on a straight piece of wood really as a pen, or are we talking about fountain pens?
No, well, to start off with, you wouldn't have been talking about a fountain pen, but obviously the quill was the instrument of writing for many, many years, and the steel nib trade sort of changed all that. And it was obviously, you'd be looking at dip pens to start off with. Is
there any reason why this trade developed in the way it did? Why in Birmingham?
Well, I think it's because the Black Country, basically, all the natural resources were nearby. Birmingham had always had a history, and the Jewellery Quarter particularly, for making things like buckles and making things from steel. And of course, there's Matthew Bolton as well. So it's a sort of, I think it naturally landed in the Jewellery Quarter for all those sorts of reasons.
A couple of things we've got here. I'm not sure just how well we can actually see these, but we can go. There we are. Actually, we can see that quite well. Now, this says modern styles of handwriting, straight edge pens. It's kind of like an italic nib, isn't it? But what I like best about this is they call them football pens, but I see no other reference to pens on it.
Purely a marketing ploy. They used to.
So they were doing it even then, were they?
I'm afraid so. Yes. Maybe. I mean, at one stage they used to have different occupations, as you can see, footballers, and maybe they hoped that footballers of the day would be buying a pen. I can't see Wayne Rooney doing that, but you never know.
Yeah, and this there are 12 nibs on here. I say this is for somebody who writes italic handwriting. And you reckon that would have been about a penny, an old
Probably
penny?
Would have been about that, yeah. But I mean, this is just one of the many, many quirky things on display at the Pen Museum. Yeah. It's a brilliant slice of history, really.
So if somebody was going to the Antiques for Everyone at the NEC and they turned up with a few cards like this or something similar, would be people rushing to buy them?
Yeah, I mean, the collection's a big thing. I mean, the Pen Museum stand at the show has got a collector sharing with them, and he's got over 1,000 pens on display. So that just shows you, it's a big collecting thing.
Do people still write with fountain pens much these days?
Well, I think it's actually coming back into fashion, not just because of sort of brand names like Mont Blanc, but I think it's because it has become a status symbol again. And I think you can't beat something written with a pen nib. It looks far more personal than the biro.
Of course, one of the famous makes from years ago was Conway Stewart, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I remember reading a piece once that Churchill wrote with a Conway Stewart pen, but he was never ever photographed with it in his hand.
Is that right?
Nowadays,
I
of
didn't
course,
know that.
the marketeers wouldn't miss a chance like that, would they? My word.
Absolutely not.
And we've got a second piece with us here, which we must also have a look at. There we go. I think we can see that. Now, just tell me about this. I mean, it looks to me just like any old pen that might have been around maybe 100 years ago. Why is it so special?
Well, this dates back to about 1845, I think, and it was, at the time, supposedly the world's biggest pen, and it was a must-have for bosses, because obviously bosses like to be the top of the tree on most things, so to have the world's biggest pen would have been a big status symbol.
It's absolutely perfect condition, this, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I mean, some of these things have been lovingly kept for many, many years, thankfully.
Yeah. Do you get many people coming and looking around the Pen Museum?
We do actually. We've got a good review on TripAdvisor. It's very popular. I mean, the Jewellery Quarter, in fairness, has got a number of museums. You know, Museum of the Jewellery Quarter, the Newman Coffin Furniture Works. It's a real good draw, really, for people who want to learn a bit about the heritage of the city.
And of course, you were Regeneration Director for the Jewellery Quarter. I mean, one of the things you presumably be doing at Antiques for Everyone at the NEC is you'll be going and having a look and see if there's anything that you should be getting back and getting in your pen museum or other areas around the Jewellery Quarter.
Well, I think so, yes. It's all about keeping your eye open for artefacts, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, that's terrific stuff. So just to remind anybody who would like to go, the Antiques for Everyone is at the NEC. It's open today, is that right?
It is indeed, yeah.
Yeah, that's open today, and it's open today, tomorrow, and all over the weekend. And if you see a man ferreting around by the pens and things, it'll probably be this man, Andy. Andy Munro, thank you so much for being with us.
No problem.
And that's where we leave it for the moment. We are going to take a break when we come.